I doubled my money in just a week trading options. But before we begin, I just want to explain some of the terms I'll be using. I mostly trade on the candles in relation to the 180 simple moving average, or in short SMA, which is this red line, and the 15 exponential moving average, or in short EMA, which is this blue line. And sometimes I'll also be using the VWAP, which is this purple line. Now if you watched my last video, you know that I blew up my account and lost everything. So on Thursday, March the 9th, I reset my balance to 1000 euros, and for my first trade I decided to trade futures because they aren't as volatile as options and I wanted to get my confidence back up. In the pre-market I noticed that the 5 minutes chart and all the charts with longer time frames looked bearish. So I decided to short the Nasdaq futures with around 20,000 euros, and I could do that with just 1000 euros because of a 1 to 20 leverage. I set a take profit above the 5 minutes SMA and a stop loss slightly above the VWAP. Then I started looking at the daily and the 4-hourly chart because I wanted to make some longer trades, and the first thing I noticed was that the Nasdaq actually bounced off of the SMA, which I predicted in the last video, and that gave me a small confidence boost. The Nasdaq was somewhere in the middle of the recent top and bottom, so I thought that it could make another pullback to the SMA or continue rallying, but you don't have to be a genius to realize that the Nasdaq moves mostly up or down. Anyway, I started looking at options, and not wanting to repeat past mistakes, I firstly checked the expiration date, and I was happy to see that they expire on March the 30th, which would give me exactly 3 weeks of time. So I simply asked myself, where do I think the Nasdaq was going to be at expiration date? And because I still thought the Nasdaq wouldn't drop below the SMA, and it was at the same time quite close to it, I decided to buy a call option. I wanted to buy the smallest position possible of the furthest out of the money call option, but I couldn't buy it because I was still in the short position and didn't have enough available funds, so I decided to let this trade play out, and once it got closed I would either buy that call option or maybe wait a bit and then buy it. After about 20 minutes the Nasdaq dropped by quite a bit and it got close to the take profit, so I was naturally debating between securing the profits and waiting. I decided to be patient and was luckily rewarded with a profit of 36.91 euros. Now back to my long-term play. I thought the market would go up in the long term, but I knew that there was still a possibility of a pullback, so I didn't want to go all in. At that moment the Nasdaq was around 3% above the SMA, so I made a plan to buy more at around each percentage drop. I bought the smallest position possible of the furthest out of the money call and set price alerts 1.2, 2.5 and 3% lower than the current price. After the market opened it went up by quite a lot, and I set a trailing stop loss on my call position, and right after I did that it started dropping, which closed my position for a nice profit of 34.96 euros. Around 20 minutes after the market closed I received a price alert notification and was surprised to see that the Nasdaq has been just continuously dropping since my position got closed, and if it wasn't for the trailing stop loss I would be down by quite a lot. Anyway, after receiving the price alert I once again bought the smallest position possible of the furthest out of the money call option I could buy. On Friday, right at market open, the Nasdaq jumped up, but then it quickly changed directions and it was even down by more than 1%. At its lows it triggered my second price alert, so I bought the furthest out of the money call option I could buy, but instead of buying the smallest position possible I doubled the initial bet, or in other words the second smallest position possible. If I was completely wrong and both of these positions dropped to zero, I would lose around 400 euros, which is quite a lot considering my account was worth just a little over 1000 euros. Towards the end of the day the market continued dropping and it triggered my last price alert, so I bought the same position size as the previous trade of the furthest out of the money call option I could buy. On Tuesday the CPI report came out in line with expectations and the market went completely nuts, rising up by around 2%, and because I was already up around 260 euros and the Nasdaq was right at the 4-hourly SMA, which previously acted as a resistance, I was thinking about selling, but because MACD looked like this could be another beginning of a bull run, I luckily decided to hold. Although the next day was the PPI report day and that could have completely ruined my plans. Once it got released it made the market drop in the pre-market and I firstly thought this was the end, but then at those lows I saw an opportunity. I thought the market was overreacting, so I bought the smallest position possible of a call with a striking price at $12,450, and after rallying a bit it showed some signs of resistance at the 5 minutes SMA, so I sold it for a nice profit of 12.43 euros. On Thursday and the last day of this episode I spotted a pattern in the pre-market that I have already traded on in the past episodes, but basically when the market goes up by quite a lot on the previous day and it goes flat in the pre-market of the next day, I just wait for the 5 minutes SMA to catch up, and once the market drops below the SMA I start shorting and set a stop loss above the VWAP and I take profit slightly above the 15 minutes SMA. So I did exactly that, and although I was right in the end and made a profit, it took the Nasdaq a few hours to actually start dropping. Now we finally got to my massive win. A couple of hours after open, the Nasdaq got to 2% in the green and I was up around 900 euros, so I sold all of my call options to secure an insane gain and got my account all the way up to 2021 euros and 50 cents. I closed them because the Nasdaq rallied by quite a lot in the past 4 days and I've made more than I ever imagined I would make from this trade. And on top of that, I still can't believe that I made more money in just a week than in the past couple of months of trading. I realized that luck played a major part with the CPI report coming out as expected, but I still like to think that I made a good plan in advance. And to be fair, if the CPI report came out higher than expected, my account would be down by a lot because of one simple reason: I didn't set any stop losses. So in the future I'll play more with trading stop losses and will set them on all of my positions. If you want me to continue uploading my progress, let me know by smashing that like button, and if you want to see more of my content, click on the video that just popped up, and if that is not enough, smash the subscribe button, it will help me out a lot in reaching my goal of 600 subscribers. If you have any questions or recommendations, leave them in the comments down below, and thanks for watching.